All right, I believe we are live. Hello, hello. Welcome back to a Purpose and Pixie Dust live recording. I am super excited for our guest today. Amanda Bauner is on, and she's going to be talking all things. Well, I'm not going to give it all away, but we're going to be talking about how she started her business. And it's a really interesting one. I think a lot of my listeners will definitely relate with. So, Amanda, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about you. What do you do? How'd you start doing it? All the things.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me, Lindsay. I really appreciate it.
You're so
And
welcome.
of course, I live just north of Magic Kingdom, so I really relate to the
Oh,
Purpose and
so
Pixie Dust
jealous.
parts, both of those.
So jealous, so jealous.
But for almost 26 years now, I actually have been an environmental engineer. And what that means is I mainly work on wastewater treatment, the conveyance, basically making sure that it's clean water when you turn on the tap and I know where it goes when you flush the toilet. So I've worked for consulting firms for most of my time, but a couple of years for utility and have great respect for the people that work for those utilities. They do a lot of hard work. You want me to go ahead into my origin story,
Yeah,
how I
yeah,
started it
let's
all?
hear it.
Okay.
Please, yes.
So I love Disney, obviously living where I do right now. And I grew up in Indiana. And then in my mid 20s, I moved to New York City. And so I went through this period where I was just, focused on my 20s and having fun and moving to the big city. So I didn't go to Walt Disney World for a period of about 12 years. But growing up, all four grandparents were down in Florida. So we came quite a bit. And I went back with friends in 2012. And then I wanted to go back immediately because I was just like, I missed it. I can't believe it. It's been 12 years. And they all said, well, we've got jobs or they had other things going on. I thought, well, what if I went solo? And I started doing research in like 2013 for a trip in 2014. And at that time, there were hardly any resources for Disney World going solo. It was all families, which is, somewhat to be expected. And hardly anything if it was just like an adult's trip either. So I thought, well, I had it in my back of my mind this whole time as I'm creating my spreadsheets because I'm a planner. When I travel, I love to plan. So I
Love
did,
that.
yes, of course. So I did two solo trips in 2014. One of them as an excuse for preparation in 2015. I had my 40th birthday with 14 adult friends at Disney World and my
Oh,
parents. So we had
that's
a
fun.
great time. It was so
Yeah.
much fun. And then, of course, you do the Disney math. And I figure if I buy an annual pass and I come for my, birthday, and then I come this many times, because at that point, my parents had retired and moved to Southwest Florida. So that led to a series of trips where I would meet them at Disney World. And I would usually have like a day or two by myself before they would join me. And this kept percolating in my mind. And I'm like, what do I do with this? And then at that same time, I started listening to the WDW radio podcast by our mutual friend and mentor, Lou Mongello. And he started talking then 2016, 17 about this momentum. And I couldn't go in 2017. I actually was in Walt Disney World, the first momentum conference he had, but it was my twin goddaughter's second birthday with a bunch of people that I had helped plan the trip, and I wasn't about to miss that.
Right.
So, yeah. So
Mhm.
I know this is like kind of a long story, but
No, no, I love how things like always align. Like everything
yes,
always happens how it's supposed to happen, even though you
yes,
don't realize it in the moment.
exactly. And I think I did things maybe a little bit backwards than other people who've gone to Momentum, but I emailed Lou. I never talked to him. He didn't know who I was. I said, I
Mhm.
have this idea for giving all these resources to both solo travelers and adult travelers going to Disney destinations. And he
Mhm.
loved it. He emailed back,
Yeah.
and then we had a call, and I had missed Momentum Conference. And he
Yeah.
said, well, I have the weekly mastermind. And I said, I know
Mm.
nothing about being an entrepreneur, about social media, how to do a website, none of it. So I came in green as could be, and bless these people who welcomed me into that weekly mastermind. I
Yeah.
did that for 2.5 years, his
Oh,
weekly
wow.
mastermind, with different people, obviously going in and
Right.
out.
Yeah.
But it didn't take long that I realized 15 years in New York City, I was kind of ready to move.
Yep.
So within 6 months of joining the mastermind, I had moved to Tampa, Florida,
Okay.
and gotten a different job and started Disney Travel for All, which at the time was just a blog.
Mm.
Not
Okay.
just, but
Right.
that's what it
Yeah.
was.
That's what you
And it,
started with.
yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
started with. And that was meant to do exactly what I wanted to do, provide the resources for solo travelers and adult like, fun girls trip, or like I had a bunch of
Yeah.
people going for birthdays, that kind of thing. But then that connection was missing, and I really
Mm.
love connections and relationships. And I
Yeah.
thought that's kind of hard with writing, even though I love writing.
Right. Yeah.
So Lou, of course, he's been podcasting for, I think, 2008, 9, long time.
Long time.
Yes.
He's an OG.
Maybe even before that. So he had said, and others had said, you should try a podcast.
Mm.
So I gave it a try. And the first few episodes, I did like the intro, and then I did about 3 episodes each with friends. And I thought, well, this feels kind of natural. I
Yeah.
actually kind of like this. So I started at January 2020,
Okay.
which of course then COVID
Oh,
hit.
yeah.
And everything got, just turned topsy turvy for everybody. So I kept going, had to pivot, and I was still in Tampa at the time. But after a year of going through the pandemic, I kind of felt isolated in Tampa because I had moved there and I had friends in Orlando, and my parents were in Southwest Florida, but I didn't really have friends in Tampa. And I
Yeah.
asked my boss, can I move to Orlando? Because that's what I
Yeah.
had originally wanted to do when I moved to
Mhm.
Florida. And so I did that, and that helped with the podcast and just being social. But then the piece was still missing about why I had started it, even though I was growing this
Mhm.
awesome community. And it felt like I wanted to expand beyond Disney. And it also felt like I had kind of left behind the solo travelers a little bit.
Okay.
So I thought, what if I rebrand?
Mm.
And that's when Me and the Magic came up. So
Okay.
I
I
worked with,
wondered where that happened.
yes.
Mhm.
So I decided last fall to rebrand to Me and the
Okay.
Magic, and just hit 100 episodes of the podcast.
Congratulations. That's so exciting.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's so
It's
big.
wonderful. And the community is doing great. We have our
Mhm.
first, I'm sure we'll talk about all the things, but we've got a lot of things coming up. So,
Yeah. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. And I never would have guessed that you have been doing this just since January 2020, because your community is super engaged. You do meetups, you do all kinds of stuff with your community. So let's talk a little bit about how you have been able to, like, what are all the components of your community now, and how have those added to your brand and what you do? Because there's a lot of them.
Yeah, there are. And I kind of learned as I went along. And then I also learned from watching Lou and others with
Yeah.
their communities. And then with the pandemic, we all had to kind of pivot. So it started
Right.
with just me doing the show, not just, but
Right.
getting the podcast growing, being
Hmm.
active on social media. And then I was having virtual monthly Zoom calls with the
Oh,
community.
fun.
And
Okay.
then January 2021, WandaVision came out. And I
Mm.
decided, why don't we do weekly calls to discuss the show? Because
Oh, okay.
I love the MCU,
Yeah.
Marvel Cinematic Universe, for those that don't know what that is. But I'm not a comics person. So
Hmm.
there are all these Easter eggs in there that I didn't
Right.
know, and I needed help.
Yeah, yeah.
So it ended up, we did this weekly for however many episodes, 8 or 9 weeks. And we would have sometimes up to 10 people on the calls, sometimes just a few of us, but always kind of
Hmm.
the same core group, and
Okay.
formed such a tight knit, I don't know, so fun.
Yeah.
And so it was
Yeah.
really nice. In episode 100, people were sharing their favorite memories, and that kept coming up.
Oh,
So that was really
I love
lovely.
that. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
know you did that part of it even. I
Yeah.
was thinking of your in-person meetings that I have seen you post about.
That too. So I started, actually, was it just last year? I think I started Walk the
Okay.
World.
Yeah.
So we meet somewhere different around Walt Disney World
Hmm.
property each month. So I just posted, the next one will be Walk the World Showcase around Epcot.
Ooh, that's gonna be so fun. I'm so
It'll be
jealous.
so good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes, there are just a couple of us, which is great. And
Hmm.
sometimes I think the largest we had was maybe like 12 or 13 of
Oh,
us.
wow. That's a
and
big group.
and yeah, it's wonderful. And I'm actually starting to get people requesting, like I had a woman who emailed me and said, I'm coming from Seattle this week, are you going to happen to
Mm.
have an event? So I actually said, that works great for my calendar, why don't I schedule the event for that week you're coming?
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. Well, that's what I was just thinking. I was like, man, I've got to coordinate with her one of these weekends that I'm
Yes.
actually in Orlando to
Yes.
like do something like that. Because Well, too, and you're also doing this while still juggling working full time, correct?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Yep.
so what kind of tips do you have for the person listening who's like, I have something that I want to build, but I don't have time to do it all? What would you tell them?
Number one, if you really want to build it, you find the time. And I know that sounds simplistic, and me, especially maybe as a single woman, no children, that sounds easier than someone
Mhm.
with other responsibilities, but everybody's got different
Yep.
responsibilities. So, what really helped me, and I actually worked with someone we both know, Angie Robinson, who's a life and leadership coach. And one of the biggest things for me was just really scheduling and being very intentional about what I wanted to do. And sticking to it, because I'm great at putting things on a calendar, not so great about always sticking to it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I love that you said everyone has, sorry, I have something in my eye or something. It's really
That's
bothering
all
me.
right.
If you're watching live, that's what's happening. Um but I love how you say that, we still, because I also have no children and I have a dog who is extremely needy though. So I think it's probably about the same thing. But it's the same thing, we all have things that fill up our days, but if something is really important to you, you will find a way to fit it in, even
Yeah.
if it's something really, really small each day. Like that's my thing. Especially when I'm working with my clients and they say the same thing you do. We're busy, we're tired, we want to go out and do other things, but you can find 10 minutes today to do something. Like you can make the Facebook event for your walk around the world, or you can do something to move the needle forward, and I think that's a really huge thing that a lot of people need to hear.
Yeah. You figure out a way to fit it in. You figure
Yeah.
out those pockets. And what I've been challenging myself with the last 6 months or so is, as I've been traveling,
Mhm.
trying to do some of my engineering work, and then trying to do the me and the
Yeah.
magic work, and the traveling itself is some
Right.
feeding into the me and the magic. So that's
Yeah.
been interesting as I've been kind of playing with that. And I'm fortunate that my engineering job, I go into the office. I also can work from home, and sometimes I travel to client sites.
I was
So
wondering that.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm
I have
glad
a
you
little
said that.
flexibility there, which is definitely helps.
Yeah, that's great. So
Yeah.
have you been working with the same company this whole time? Or is that from since you moved to Tampa
Since my
to
move to
present?
Tampa, so I just
Okay.
hit my 5 years with the company. It's called Carollo Engineers, and they're a
Okay.
wonderful company. I have to plug them because it's truly such a wonderful company. We're
Yeah,
doing a lot of, they put the people first.
that's
So
great.
I cannot speak highly enough about that company. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that makes a big difference too,
Yeah.
and seeing that modeled, I'm sure has helped you in your business too, because you are completely people-centered, um,
Yes.
with the magic in Mia, so
Yes, definitely.
let's talk a little bit about the solo female
Yes.
specific travel. So, is your audience specifically female, solo travelers, or is just any solo travelers?
It's any solo travelers. I
Okay.
do tend to focus somewhat more on some issues maybe that affect women more, like if I talk about safety, that I
Mm,
read some interesting articles that when it comes to men, their top concern for solo travel is the cost. Women, their top concern is safety.
ooh,
Yeah.
that's super telling.
Yeah.
Okay, so then let's talk a little bit about safety. So what
Yeah.
are some tips or some things that have come up along the years safety-wise that you can tell us as women who may or may not be traveling alone?
Number one, share your itinerary with someone. And maybe even arrange like a check-in, so that
Oh, I
someone
like that.
knows where you are. It doesn't have to be every day, but at least if someone says, "Oh, Wednesday at 5, I'm gonna at least let you know by then," and they haven't heard from you, then,
Yeah,
or just share like where you're staying, contact info. Like, and I go on a cruise, I'm like, here's how you could contact a cruise ship, that type of thing.
yeah.
So I have gone on a solar cruise before, highly recommend it.
Oh, yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah, I didn't know a single person on the ship. And another way to stay safe is to try to protect where you're staying. Like I would be
Mm,
careful if I were saying my stateroom number or
yeah,
my hotel room number, something like that. And then even in public places now with all the electronics,
yeah.
making, put a privacy screen on your cell phone. Um,
Oh,
the air tags I know have become kind of an issue. Like they're wonderful to stick in your luggage and track it,
mhm.
but people now are starting to stick it in other people's luggage to track them.
You're
But
kidding.
no, it's kind of starting to become a little thing. But
Wow.
your phone will alert you now if there's one near you that's not registered to you, and
Okay.
they actually can make a sound so you can find it.
Okay.
So there are
Is
ways
there a
around it.
setting or something we have to turn on for that, or is that just automatic on
It's if
our
you have an
phones?
iPhone, it's in the
Mhm.
Find My, so if you go
Okay.
to
Yeah,
Find My
yeah, I've seen that.
iPhone, you can add the
Mhm.
Find My AirTags.
Okay.
And if you don't have it and it detects one, my understanding is the latest operating system that it will
Yeah.
ping you that,
I
and it
think I
might
had
just be
read
another
that.
traveler's right sitting next to you on the
Right.
airplane and has one. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, yeah. But, like, if it goes off in your hotel room, that's
Well,
probably
telling.
definitely yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, people are so creepy.
I know.
Um,
There's all these things. It's
I'm glad you said that about the hotel room because I had an incident happen to me in Punta Cana about
mm,
this time last year. I was in Punta Cana. It was me and another woman. We traveled separately. We met there for our company incentive trip. Anyway, the people working for the hotel kept asking as they were driving us. Well, I went by myself, so I met her there. But as they were driving me to my hotel, like, what room are you? What room are you? What room are you? And I didn't think anything about it. I'm like, oh, I'm in whatever the room was.
yeah.
And I said it probably to 4 or 5 different men
Uh-huh.
on the way there. They were all
Yeah.
asking me. And then that night, we had a man try to break into our room,
Ah.
like, pretty forcefully, and thankfully, we
Oh.
had put like, the security lock across it.
Mhm.
But, I mean, the door somehow got unlocked, so it was a worker, and he was, like, body slamming against the door, like,
Oh.
yelling in Spanish,
Oh.
and we were like, "What is happening? Like, what do you want?" And I speak Spanish, so we're like, "What do you want? Like, we're not opening this. We didn't order anything. We're in bed. Like, you need to go away." We kept saying it, and he finally went away, and,
Oh my gosh.
anyway, we were safe. Thankfully, we had that across the door, and we reported it, and, like, we talked to the police and, like, all this stuff, and they said it was a worker who it was a security guard who someone had called for a noise complaint or something, and they were checking on us, and I was like, "No, that was not a
Oh.
security guard." We asked him what he wanted, he wouldn't respond. I was like, "It was not." So, anyway, after that, it was super scary, yeah. After
Yeah.
that, when they started asking when they were, like, driving us back, like, "What room are you in?" I'm like, "Oh, we're in the building 8," or whatever. Like, I
Yeah.
refused to stay in my room after that, and
Oh
I told
my.
every woman that I could that I saw on that resort the rest of the trip, I'm like, "Do not tell your room number. Do not tell your room number." I'm like, "This happened
Yeah.
to us. Lock your room." Because that was another
Mm.
thing. I'm usually pretty good about locking that security, thing across the door when I'm in my room alone, but
Yeah.
not during the day when I'm in there by myself. So now it is very
Right.
much in the back of my mind, like, close that security thing. Do not tell people your room number.
Yeah, that is the first thing I do as soon as I go into the room, no matter if I'm gonna
Yeah.
leave again, yeah. And I actually bought I haven't used it yet, but I bought one of those, it looks like a door stopper, except the top of it is metal, so that
Yeah.
when it hits it, an alarm goes off.
Yes, I've seen
Yeah.
those. I probably need to grab one of those, but that would be perfect because I have been in a hotel room, which I think I read that it's illegal for them not to have a safety thing like
Oh,
that.
okay.
But I have been in one before where it didn't have a way to lock it like that, and I
Mm.
definitely felt nervous, so
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
I know. So there's some more women, traveling by yourself tips for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for sharing that. Sorry that happened to you.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I am very adamant about sharing that with women now when I talk to them because I'm like
Yeah.
and it's so common, I feel like, for those all-inclusive resorts, especially with those higher
Mm.
level of service for people to want
Yeah.
your room number, but I'm like, "No."
It's true, or they're very casual about it when they
Mhm.
give you your key at the front desk. "You're in 508." I'm like, "Thank you." The
Yeah.
whole reader
Yeah, and I had a friend tell me that they're not supposed to do that, and I was like,
No.
"Oh, that makes sense. It's supposed to be, like, written down or, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
quietly
why I
handed
like
to
the
you."
online check-in now, where you can
Mm,
use your phone as your key,
yeah,
and you don't even have to go to the front desk, and
right.
yeah.
That way yeah, and then that way people at the front desk don't know, like, a face to a room either, which I think
Yeah.
is a smart idea.
Yeah. But I know that's not always possible. Depends where you're
Right,
staying. Yeah.
right. Well, thank you for those tips. Those are super great. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your cruise. How was your cruise?
It was
Your solo
fantastic.
cruise?
It was my first time on the Disney Fantasy.
Okay.
I've been fortunate to be on, each of the Disney ships at least once, so,
Okay.
and
Awesome.
it was a 7-night cruise. I
Mm.
decided to give this a
Go big or
try.
go home. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, why not? I knew I loved
Yes.
cruising, so decided to do it, and it was a very merry time, so everything I love Christmas, so,
I do
everything was
too.
all decorated for that, and
Yeah.
it's interesting, most cruise lines do this, including Disney, is they pair you with people to sit with at dinner, and
Mm.
they try to
Mhm.
do it, intentionally so that you have something in common with those
Yeah.
people. So
Okay.
I was with, 2 couples and then a mother and daughter, that the daughter was probably closer to my age, the mother was a little older.
Okay.
And it was wonderful. I mean, by the end
That's
of the
fun.
cruise, it was when Frozen 2 came out. There was
Mhm.
one of the couples at our table, it was like their 52nd Disney cruise, something insane
Oh my
that was just
gosh.
like,
Wow.
amazing. And
Yeah.
they had us all to their suite for a champagne toast, and then we all walked down
Aw.
together to the Frozen 2 premiere, and I just kept running into them to do things with
Mm.
them, but I also had some great time to myself, and the cast
Yeah.
members were so wonderful, and I mean, I didn't let it stop me from doing anything. I ate at the
Yeah.
adult restaurants for brunch and dinner, all 4 meals.
Nice. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so it
that
was
sounds
great.
perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah, that sounds really great.
yeah.
So which is your favorite of the Disney cruise ships?
That's so tough
I
to
know, I know. They're all so
answer.
different. Yeah.
I really love the Wonder because I sailed
Mm.
on the Wonder, it was the first sailing out of New Orleans, and
Okay.
for those that don't know, the Wonder has on it a French Quarter Lounge in Tiana's place, and it was right before Mardi Gras. It was actually February 2020.
Oh.
So the theming was fantastic,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that works
I like the
perfect.
smaller ships.
Mhm.
They feel more intimate, although I love what the larger ships offer too. So I'm excited to go back on the Fantasy. We have our first group cruise this November on the Fantasy.
Oh, is it you for your community? Are you doing a group cruise? Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Okay, tell us the details about
Yes.
that. What's that all
Everyone's
about?
welcome. It's actually the same itinerary I sailed in 2019
Oh,
solo.
cool.
It's a 7-night Eastern Caribbean, stopping in
Mm.
Tortola and St. Thomas, and then Disney's private island, Castaway Cay.
Oh,
And
perfection.
yes, it's a very merry time. So it's November 11th through the 18th. And
Nice.
you can get free no obligation quote if you go to meandthemagic.com. And we have, I think so far maybe 25 of us booked,
Oh my
and
gosh, that's huge.
I'm great with that. I mean, and
Yeah.
I welcome more people for sure. But
Yeah.
we have some people coming from Canada who've been so active in the community, and we're all going to be meeting in person for the first time, and
Oh my
everybody's so
gosh.
excited.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so fun.
yeah.
Hashtag goals for my community. Purpose and Pixie Dust. Stay tuned. We are going to make a Disney group cruise happen one of these
Yes,
days.
yes.
So, how long have you been planning this then for your group?
Oh gosh, I think we announced it last year
Okay.
because they open up
Yeah, pretty far
pretty
in
soon.
advance.
So right
Yeah.
now, I think they're up to summer 2024 has been announced, if
Mhm.
I'm not mistaken, through
Yeah.
September 2024. So
Right.
actually, I'm very, very soon, maybe like next week, going to announce the 2024 group trip, but it's not a cruise.
Okay. I was just gonna I
So
was just gonna ask that. Is it gonna be another cruise? So it's gonna be a land trip.
it
That's
is a
very
land
fun.
trip. Yes. So
Can you
that'll be
can you give us
coming.
any hint? Is it Disney related or not Disney related, or can we not know?
It is Disney related.
Okay.
If you're in the community, you probably have a good idea because I did a
I was
poll.
I kinda have an idea. I didn't see your poll though, but I know places that you have recently-ish traveled,
Yes.
so I'm thinking I might have an idea, but I won't say my guess.
Yeah,
But
that's
that'll be
fine.
really fun. That's gonna be so exciting.
Yes, and I would love to do, like, smaller get-togethers too as I'm
Mhm.
traveling around,
Yeah.
to meet up with more people, not just in Orlando, because I know not everybody can
Right.
always get to the Orlando
Yeah.
meetups. Yeah.
Oh, that's a fun idea. Like, you can do, like, a meetup wherever you're at. So if you go to Disneyland, if there are people local there that wanna do a meetup. Oh, that's a fun idea. I like that.
Yes, and Dollywood is one of my new favorite places.
I
So
was
yeah.
just gonna ask about your Dollywood trip. So give
Yeah.
us a little bit about Dollywood. How was that?
Yeah, the first time I went was last fall, and it was
Okay.
perfect time to go because they have the Harvest
Yeah.
Festival, the Smoky Mountains with the leaves
Mm,
changing. I
so
mean, it was
pretty.
just gorgeous. It is a
Yeah.
beautiful park. It's just one park, but it's about the
Mhm.
size of Epcot probably, except on a
Okay.
mountain, so
Yeah.
hilly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the theming is just so fun, and there's just all these little touches of Dolly, and there's tons of music, not just country
Mm,
music, all kinds of music, all these shows. The entertainers are so talented. There's
okay.
one official resort right now, the Dreammore Resort, but they're about to open the second
Mhm.
one this fall.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And yeah, and they
Nice.
have plans to expand. It's a seasonal park. So because it's in the
Mm,
Smokies, it closes
right.
like January through March, but they're trying to make it probably a year-round park coming up
Yeah. That's
by
awesome.
getting a little creative. So
I was gonna say they might have to have some more indoor type
yes.
things, but
Yes.
yeah.
But I fell in love
We
with it.
Yeah, I haven't been to Dollywood. Gosh, I think we were probably in high school.
Yeah.
So I don't remember it a ton. But we were just in Gatlinburg. We drove there
Oh
through
yeah.
there and stayed overnight on our way home from Florida this past spring break.
Nice.
And we drove by the entrance to Dollywood and the resort. I'm like, that looks really nice. I don't think it was built when we were there in high school. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think that hotel portion, but I was like, oh, that would be really fun to stay. And I have a coworker who their daughter is 3. So
Mhm.
they have an RV. So they go down a few times a year, I think. I think they might have like an
Oh,
annual pass. And
nice.
she was saying, at least at her age, that they really liked that better than Disney World for her.
Mm.
Um, Also, I think because it's the ease from Ohio to Tennessee is
Sure.
a little bit different than going to Orlando
Yeah.
often when you have
Yeah.
littles. But yeah, I thought that was very interesting. I'm like, oh, I need to go back and check that out a little bit more. I didn't know she did all the festivals and all of that.
Oh yeah, I was just back for the Flower and Food Festival because I bought a
Mm.
season pass because it was only, gosh, $235.
Oh,
So, and
wow.
I also received 2 free tickets to bring a friend and
Okay.
then all these discounts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's really
So that
nice.
was the gold level. So
Yeah.
it's very reasonable
Mhm.
compared to
Yeah.
Disney. I mean, obviously, you're getting not quite as
Right.
much, but I absolutely
If you
love it.
Yeah,
So
and if you go multiple times, that for sure would make sense.
yes, so I'm hoping to go back at Christmas time because they do it all up, for that
Oh, I
time of
bet
year.
that's so pretty.
Mhm.
I bet Well, I guess it would depend on the weather, because 'cause I'm like, the
Yeah.
only bad thing is I wouldn't like to drive through the
I
mountains if it
know.
was snowy and icy, so
Yes.
that might be an early November type
Yes.
Christmas trip, early December before it gets icky,
Exactly.
which I
I'd
don't know how bad
probably
it gets in the
fly.
in Tennessee area.
I think
I
it's
know
up there in the mountains. I mean, it's really close to
Yeah,
where you enter the Smoky Mountain National Park, so it can get a
right.
little
A
icy,
little
snowy.
Yeah, I bet. Someone
Yeah.
said in the comments, on Facebook, "I'd love to go to Dollywood someday. It looks so cute, reminds me of Knott's Berry Farm." Which I
Oh,
haven't been to that, but I
me
have seen
neither.
Yeah, I have seen pictures and that it does look cute.
Yeah.
Angie says, "Let's do a meetup in Minnesota for your group."
I'm
Amanda,
actually
that's
going to
fun.
be in Minnesota, in August, so,
Oh, well, there you
uh,
go.
yeah, yeah,
Time to get that set up then.
yes, I think so. I'm gonna be in a few
That's a
places coming
sign.
up, so
Awesome. Well, tell everyone where they can connect with you. Maybe what is going up or coming up in like the near future that they can connect with you about as well. And
Sure.
we'll go from there.
Yes, well, I'm planning the next 100 episodes, so I'd love to hear if anyone has
Yeah.
ideas. I'm always looking for ideas and guests. We're doing more giveaways. We just did a major giveaway of an Orlando area vacation, so going to have more
That's awesome.
giveaways coming up. Working on some digital travel guides for solo travelers for Walt
Ooh,
Disney World and other locations. And
nice.
then May 23rd at 7 o'clock is our next monthly Walk the World showcase. And then the group cruise, if you go to meandthemagic.com, you can get all the information about the group cruise. And like I mentioned, I think next week I'll probably be announcing the 2024 group trip. And then I'm on Instagram at Me and the Magic, and the Facebook page is Me and the Magic. And then
Yeah.
the Me and the Magic community is on Facebook. And you can email me also at Amanda at Me and the Magic.
Awesome. And friends, I will make sure to put all of that in the show notes too. So you can just do like quick clicks for everything and make sure you can connect with Amanda. But okay, I like to ask a few like rapid fire questions at the
Yes.
end.
Yeah.
So in no particular order. Morning routine, nighttime routine, neither, both. What's your take?
Ideally both, although I'm much better about sticking to the morning routine.
Okay.
So I started doing this when I first had Julie Voris enter my world, which was
Mm,
about August
yep.
2021. And I really treasure the morning routine now.
Yeah.
I get up early. I get my big water and I have my energized, because coffee does not agree with me. So I have my
Mm,
energized drink and I journal, pray, meditate, and then go work out, shower, usually listen to some kind of personal development podcast while I'm showering,
yeah.
getting ready for
Yeah.
the day.
I
Then
do the same.
and I'm also a team body partner. So
Oh, okay.
the Energized and the Shakeology and all that is
Yep.
from Team Body. So I
Yeah.
have my shake with breakfast and then get to work, whether that's doing a little me and the magic if I'm early enough before I start the engineering job or traveling to the office or whatever I'm doing. That's my morning routine.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
What's your favorite shake flavor of Shakeology?
The vegan chocolate.
Mm,
I'm pretty standard. I love pairing that with just banana and baby
yeah.
spinach and some almond milk. And if I really want to be decadent, then I get the chocolate almond milk with it.
Ooh, fancy. I never
Yeah.
thought about doing that. That's like such a trick.
It's good.
Have you ever put the I don't know if it was called like the light or the fit or something, but it's PB2 powder
Oh yeah.
and you can get the kind like that's low sugar or whatever. And
Hmm.
sometimes I put that in the chocolate shakes and they're really good. It like
It
makes them
is really
extra
good.
creamy.
I actually just on accident bought the PB2 powder with cocoa in it, so I haven't tried it yet, but I'm like, "Ooh, this might be a
Oh.
game changer."
Oh, that could be. You could be. You have to let me know if you like that one or not.
Yeah.
Jennifer says baby spinach beats kale all day. Agreed. Agreed. I
Oh,
can't do the
yeah.
kale.
Mm-mm.
I wish I
No.
could, but
And you can't even taste the baby spinach in the shake.
yeah,
I haven't tried
no.
kale in a shake, so I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't tried kale in the shake either, but I try
Yeah.
not to buy kale. So that's why.
Yeah.
Um, best personal development book that you have read lately or like of all time?
Oh gosh. I had to go with lately, which was Dare to Lead, Brene
Mm,
Brown. I
yeah,
love Brene Brown and just everything that she does.
yeah.
And loved
She's
her
super
podcast that
motivational.
she had too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. I love
Yeah.
that. I'll have to link that in the show notes for you guys to check that out too.
Yeah.
I you said that. I don't know that I got all the way through that book. I have to find it. I'm one of those that I start a book and then someone will mention a book that I need to buy and then I'll buy that one and it shows up on my door and then I start to read that. So I have about 55
Mm,
books with like bookmarks in them that I need
yeah.
to go like I need to make that a priority this summer to actually finish some of the books that I start.
Yes, I hear
But I
you.
have that
Same
here
way.
somewhere.
Same way. Yep.
Yes, yes. Okay, favorite and this might well, maybe not for you. Favorite vacation destination that you have been to ever and or a bucket list vacation destination you'd like to go on?
Oh gosh. Well, favorite mm, vacation destination I've been to is probably Paris.
Mm,
And I want to
okay.
go back. And no, I did not go to Disneyland Paris yet, but I really want to.
Yeah, yeah, you'll
So
have to.
that's on the bucket list. And then I really want to go to Tokyo also, and partly
Mm,
because of Tokyo
yep.
Disneyland and Disney Sea.
I heard that's the best one
Yeah.
from multiple people. But I
Yes.
also heard Shanghai. Is it Shanghai?
Hmm.
Shanghai has a Disney too, and I heard that one's
Yeah.
really awesome. So now
Yeah.
we basically have to go to all of them.
Yeah.
Could be another that could be another one of your group trips, right?
I hope so.
To
Long
every
range.
yeah,
Yeah.
to every park. Yes, we'll put that out there in the universe.
I love it. Yes.
Yes. Awesome. Well, Amanda, thank you so, so much for your time. This has been so fun. And I know that the listeners are going to take something out of it, whether it's business related or travel related, that pertains to everything that we talk about on the show. So I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
So welcome.